When you were looking at the space, you said you were sort of already kind of in that environment you were looking at. There was an existing wood waste problem. So just tell me more about that. What was the situation?
Yeah. So at the general contractor, we were researching, how do we become a more sustainable contractor? And in construction, waste is a major environmental problem. Predominantly here in the US because our building owners don't like to keep their buildings. They always want that's everything from remodeling them every 2 to 5 years for an office building to tear downs every 30 to 50 years. US, we have a real habit of tearing down our infrastructure, and that generates a lot of waste. And so we're looking at, what are those volumes and where does that material go? And concrete and steel, concrete gets ground up, becomes base rock for another project, a little downcycled, but at least it's not going to landfill. Steel heads back to the smelters and gets melted down into new products. Yeah, it takes a lot of energy, but again, not to the landfill. But wood was going to landfills and incinerators. And what's unique about wood is the material that came from our forests, 50 to 100 plus years ago was incredibly high quality, right? Real tight grains, very few knots, had been growing for hundreds of years before humans took it down. And we don't have access to that material anymore. So it's a scarce resource. The lumber we get from our forest today is all coming from farms, 30 to 40 years, typical life cycle for a farm tree. And so it's, big grains, quick growing, lots of knots, your standard issue you find at your lumberyard. And with wood, once you get the metal out, it's as good as it was when it was brand new from the mill. A little bit drier, a little harder. Don't try and hand pound a nail into it, but it's a real high quality material. You don't have to melt it down. You don't have to grind it. You can use it as is. And so it's a big waste for us to just throw this away. And to put that 37 million tons in perspective, it's equal to about half of what we log from our softwood forests every year here in the United States. So every year we go to our forests, we log all these billions of board feet, and half of it we throw into a landfill. Not sustainable. Right?
That's
Even
incredible.
close, right? I mean, it's just massive. And here in the US, we're one of the largest users of wood products, and we actually import more. So our forests generate a ton of material, and then we still have to import more from Canada and other countries around the world. Um, and wood is a great product because of its carbon benefits. It's beautiful. It's got architectural value to it, not just structural, stores carbon. Uh, and so throwing this away or burning it is just not the right route for it. And so we're kind of at an inflection point where the technology costs have come down and the capabilities are available to automate this problem. So we can use it again. So it's a lot of fun when you get to apply technology to an old problem, and then the output is a really sustainable, high quality building product.
Was your big sort of aha? What happened as you looked at that? And obviously, it sounds like that was the genesis moment for the company.
Yeah. So a couple things. One, it checked the box of it. It's a massive problem.
Sure.
There's a lot of raw material out there available to us. The second one was the technology, right? Can we do this and automate this and bring down that cost of process? And so we checked that box. We've actually proven out that we can automatically clean up lumber. And now we're going after the box that says, can we do it at scale? Right? How fast can we do this? This is the one that we're working on. And so our first production unit will be proving that here in the field in a couple months. Um, and the other box is, is there a market for this? Right? If we take and generate substantial volumes of material that nobody's seen in the reclaim market, what's going to happen to it? Flood it and the price comes down to virgin. That makes it quite attractive because now we can compete with virgin lumber, right? And so that's what our business plan is based on: is generate enormous volumes of reclaimed lumber. And the cool thing about lumber is any existing wood manufacturer that accepts virgin can process reclaimed. Once the metal's out of it, you can cut it, you can mill it, you can rip it, you can do all your same activities to reclaim that you do to virgin. Um, the big advantage is it's a more stable product, been drawing straight in place for 40, 50, 100 years, depending on the building. Very low moisture content, very high quality material. And so there's a lot of people are very interested. They're like, wow, we can do this and we can feed it into the existing workflow, right? I'm not changing a lumber manufacturer's workflow process. I'm just giving them truckloads of material. And that's been the real holdback to a lot of manufacturers processing reclaim, right? They're like, hey, can I order, 100 truckloads and you're going to send me a truckload a day to feed my fab line? Historically, no, right? There's no capability. And we want to become that provider that enables that with our technology, where we can send them a truckload a day of reclaimed two by fours coming out of apartment buildings or low rise commercial buildings, and just feeding that directly to these guys, and they're building all kinds of products with it. Uh, And that can be everything from architectural stuff to think about like engineered products like glulam and CLT are great uses for this material.